Gemini space missions. I have a book to read to you about space. This is Working in Space by Ellen Lawrence. An astronaut on the International Space Station, ISS, puts on a spacesuit. He grabs some tools and clips on a rope-like safety tethers. The door opens, leading to the blackness of space. It's time for the astronauts to go on a spacewalk. That's their safety tethers. Why do you think astronauts connect themselves to the ISS with safety tethers during their spacewalk? Astronauts perform spacewalks to make repairs to the space station or to set up new equipment. A flying laboratory. The ISS is a big laboratory that's orbiting the Earth. On board, a crew of 6 astronauts perform science experiments. The space station has 3 main laboratory areas, or modules. Each module is about the size of a school bus. At any time, the crew may be working on 150 different experiments. On Earth, everything is pulled toward the ground by gravity. In space, everything is weightless. As they work, the astronauts are floating. The ISS is about 250 miles above Earth's surface. It's moving through space at almost 5 miles per second. The laboratory modules are called Destiny, Columbus, and Kibo. Human experiments. The ISS astronauts also carry out experiments on themselves. Why? Scientists want to know how being in space affects the human body. American astronaut Scott Kelly lived on ISS for 340 days. He carried out hundreds of tests on his body before, during, and after his mission. Scott Kelly performing tests on his body. Scott Kelly's identical twin brother, Mark, also took part in the experiments. Mark stayed on Earth and did the same tests as Scott. This allowed scientists to compare the results. Mark is over here, and Scott giving themselves flu shots. Scott Kelly's mission monitored every part of his body, including his eyes, heart, bones, and muscles. It studied how his blood was affected by weightlessness, investigated how well his body could fight off illness in space, and collected samples of his own blood, spit, pee, and poop to be studied back on Earth. Space gardens. One day, astronauts may fly to the Mars or even further into space. On a mission lasting years, they'll need to grow their own food. In the ISS laboratories, the crew is trying to grow vegetables. So far, they've grown lettuce. The crew ate some of the leaves and sent some back to Earth to be studied. Lettuce growing on the ISS. Like astronauts, plants are weightless in space. As plants grow, they can't tell which way is up or down. There's also no sunlight, rain, or soil inside a spacecraft. Astronauts on the ISS eat lettuce grown in space. Scientists on Earth sent lots of germs to the space station. Why do you think they did that? Tiny space travelers. Everything on Earth is covered with germs and other microbes. Scientists wanted to know if these microscopic living things might survive in space. Samples of microbes were collected from dozens of places on Earth. Then they were sent to the space station to be studied. If these microbes are dangerous in space, it could affect the planning of future missions. Samples were collected by wiping a cotton swab over surfaces. The microbe samples were collected from a Tyrannosaurus Rex fossil, sports stadiums, the Liberty Bell, the set of the Today Show. The ISS crew collected samples from microbes from around the space station. These samples were sent back to Earth so scientists could study them. An astronaut studying microbes inside a special box in an ISS laboratory. Ready to spacewalk. One of the most dangerous jobs on the ISS is a spacewalk. It takes about 6 hours to get ready. First, an astronaut puts on a special underwear in case he or she has to go to the bathroom. Next, the astronaut climbs into a cooling suit that has cold water flowing through it. Finally, she puts on a protective spacesuit and helmet. An astronaut wearing the cooling suit. The spacesuit protects an astronaut against bits of flying space dust and extreme temperatures. Outside, it can be 392 degrees Fahrenheit. In the sunlight, and negative 292 degrees Fahrenheit in the shade. A gold helmet visor protects against bright sunlight. Inside the suit, there's oxygen to breathe and water to drink. There's also radio equipment for talking to the crew. In January 2016, 2 astronauts performed a spacewalk. Their mission was to replace some electronics on one of ISS's solar arrays. Once in position, the men waited for Earth to block the sun's light. They had just 30 minutes before the sunlight returned and electricity surged through the array. The brave astronauts successfully completed the repair. A spacewalk is also known as an extravehicular activity, EVA. A safer jetpack, a safety tether. For added safety during a spacewalk, an astronaut wears a jetpack called a safer, simplified aid for EVA rescue. If an astronaut tether breaks, an astronaut can fly back to the ISS with the jetpack. The astronauts cannot do all the work on the ISS themselves. What do you think helps them? The robot crew. The astronaut gets help from robots. The spheres are small, colorful robots. They help with experiments about movement and weightlessness. Astrobee is a robot that can make sure the air is safe to breathe. It can even look for lost tools. Astrobee has a small fans that blow air to help move it around. Dextray is a 2-armed robot that lives on the outside of the ISS. It performs tasks such as making repairs or changing batteries. Dextray. In a notebook, design a robot to help the ISS astronauts. What kind of work would it do? What is your robot called? Can you do that? Can you find a piece of paper and draw a robot and give it a job? Send me a picture of it. I'd love to see it. Every morning, the ISS astronauts wake up, eat breakfast, and then get to work. There are not only experiments to do, but lots of chores too. All waste, including astronaut poop, must be bagged up and blasted back to Earth. When the day is over, the crew eats dinner, relaxes, and goes to sleep. Then it's time for another work day in space. Unpacking a delivery of fresh fruit, unblocking the space toilet. Some astronauts become the crew medical officers. A CMO might have to bandage a cut, give out painkillers, or even pull a tooth. Astronauts check the equipment that removes harmful carbon dioxide from the air. If you could talk to an astronaut on the ISS, what question would you ask him or her? You're fine. During a spacewalk, astronauts must work quickly and carefully and focus on multiple things at once. Try this test to see if you could be an astronaut. You'll need some Lego pieces, thick gardening gloves, a timer, and a friend to help you. Your mission is to build a spacecraft from the Legos in 3 minutes. You have to wear the thick gloves. As you work, you must count backwards from 100 to 0. When you're ready, ask your helper to time you. After you've completed the task, answer the following questions. How did you feel? Which part of the task was the most difficult? In what ways do you think this test was like being on a spacewalk? Science words. Laboratory, a place where scientific experiments are carried out. Microbes, tiny living things. Some microbes cause disease. Microscopic, able to be seen only with a microscope. Mission, a special job or task to be performed. Orbiting, circling or moving around another object. Solar arrays, panels that use the sun to produce electricity. That's the end. I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed my book, and how cool is this, right? I'll see you later. Bye-bye.